Highway 21 in Sylacauga and the Childersburg Chapel and Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, 256-245-4361. Locations in Sylacauga and in Childersburg, 256-245-4361 for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Funeral service for Gloria Avery will be noon today at Harpersville Cemetery in Harpersville. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga in charge of the arrangements. Ernestine Cricket Norwood. Funeral service will be today at 1 o'clock from Liberty Christian Church in Harpersville. Burial in the Harpersville Cemetery. Community Funeral Home directing Leona Fair, died December 21st at UAB in Birmingham. Community Funeral Home announcing. Funeral service for Harold Giddens, age 87 of Sylacauga, will be today at 1 o'clock from Childersburg Church of God, with Brother David Bearden and Brother Larry McConaughey officiating. Burial in the in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens of Childersburg. Mr. Giddens died Tuesday, December 21st at his residence. Visitation is today prior to the service, noon until 1 at the church. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga directing. And a note on Brother Harold Giddens. I love that man. He is a great man. And if there's ever been a Christian walking the streets of heaven today, a man walking the streets of heaven today, is Harold Giddens. He lived it and had a beautiful family. His wife, Betty, passed away some years ago, and Donna a couple of years ago. And of course, he was a grandfather, and Debbie is married to Mike Bryant, and they're just a beautiful, beautiful family, and son Terry. And Harold Giddens will be missed. You don't replace people like Harold Giddens. He will be remembered today, and his life celebrated at Childersburg Church of God. Visitation noon until 1, and the service at 1 at Childersburg Church of God, Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. James Strickland, age 55 of Sylacauga, died Tuesday at Grandview Medical Center in Birmingham. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, announcing the arrangements. That visitation is this morning, and graveside service at Grassmere Cemetery as well this morning. Curtis & Son Funeral Home directing that service. Funeral service for Cindy Robinson Moore, Studderville, age 71, will be Tuesday, December the 28th at 11 a.m. from Curtis & Son North. Pastor Tommy Thornton will officiate the service. Visitation 10 until 11 at the funeral home. Also on Tuesday, December the 28th, Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel directing. James Allen Burnett, age 35, died December the 2nd. A memorial service for friends and family will be January the 5th at 6 p.m. from Oak Grove Primitive Baptist Church, with Daniel Dean officiating. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. David Jones, age 73, formerly of Talladega, is today at noon from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with Reverend Jerry Jones officiating. Interment in the Kelly Springs Memorial Gardens. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Marshall Smoot Sr., age 72, of Talladega, is today at 2 o'clock from Rocky Mount Missionary Baptist Church, with Pastor Johnny Frank McKinney officiating. Interment in the Rocky Mount Church Cemetery. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Crematory directing. Funeral service for Nancy Pauline Meemaw Harris, age 90, is today at 1 o'clock from Radley Smith Funeral Home Chapel, with Reverend Mike Dankson and Dr. Wayne McDaniel officiating. Burial in the Union Springs Church Cemetery in Westover. Mrs. Harris died Monday, December 20th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Radley Smith Funeral Home, Sylacauga directing. Funeral service for Cadence Riley Lytle, age 5 months, of Childersburg, will be Monday, December 27th at noon from Radley Smith Funeral Home Chapel. Master Lytle died December the 19th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Visitation is Monday, 11 a.m. until noon at Radley Smith Funeral Home. Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. Graveside service for Deborah A. Searcy, age 66, is Sunday, December 26 at 2 o'clock at Hephzibah Baptist Church Cemetery, with Pastor Justin Milliken officiating. Ms. Searcy was a member of the Hephzibah Baptist Church, where she was a children's Sunday school teacher for many years. Online condolences at earthstreetfuneralhome.com. Earthstreet Funeral Home in Talladega in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning courtesy of Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.